Ladies and gentlemen, my name is George Galloway, Member of Parliament from the East End of London, 23 years, 5 times elected, Member of the British Parliament. And I'm honoured to be here, outside City Hall, this historic venue, to announce to the New York media the departure on the 4th of July, Independence Day, from John F. Kennedy Airport in New York, a huge convoy of people from the United States of all kinds, Jewish Americans, Christian Americans, Muslim Americans, Arab Americans, and people from all walks of life, will be setting off with millions of dollars worth of aid, which will be turned into trucks and medicine in Cairo, to which we shall fly. After a few days in Cairo, we will head for the border with the Gaza Strip at Rafah, hoping to cross into the besieged territory on the 13th of July. And I'm particularly proud to announce that we can welcome on board Councilmember Charles Barron of the New York City Council, who was the only politician in New York to stand on these steps and denounce the atrocious act of aggression which began on the 27th of December last, continued for 22 days and nights, and which massacred more than 1,400 people, severely wounded more than 5,000 people, and made 61,000 families homeless in just 22 days. This will be the biggest convoy of aid ever to leave the United States, bound for Palestine. It will be the biggest number of U.S. citizens ever to enter the occupied territories, and will carry the greatest amount of aid ever sent from this great country to people who sorely need it. Last night in New Jersey, just to give you an indication of the scale of this, in one meeting, in just 2 hours, I raised $300,000 in New Jersey. Last week in Houston, I raised 135, and New Jersey was determined not to be outdone by Texas. They say that everything's bigger in Texas, so I've been on the phone to Texas this morning, telling them that their record has been beaten, and they might like to hold another fundraiser in order to make it up. So you get some indication of the level of fundraising that's going on. And as I say, I expect that we'll leave here with the best part of $2 million, perhaps 250 U.S. citizens. And we'll leave Cairo with a convoy of trucks more than 2 miles long, bearing the flags of the United States and Palestine. It will be the biggest show on earth. And it has 3 objectives. First of all, to send a message to the Muslim people around the world that the American people are not your enemies and should not be treated as if they were your enemies. This is in the U.S. national interest to send this message. Secondly, to send the message to the Palestinian people that though death normally comes in the colors of the United States, in the kind of weaponry that you've just heard about, that's given to Israel by the United States taxpayer, although the U.S. taxpayer, if they really knew the truth, would stand up and call a halt to that. And thirdly, it's to send a message to the people of the United States that this is a turning point, that President Barack Obama is the best thing that ever happened to the people of the United States. He's undoubtedly in the throes of a re-evaluation of the U.S. role in the Middle East. That's what his speech in Cairo just a few weeks ago was all about. We want to support the President in this re-evaluation. We want to ask him to follow a policy in the interests of the American people rather than other people. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for the U.S. to support the Palestinian cause as we ourselves do. We're asking them to be fair and just and to alter America's role in the Muslim world. That's in America's interest, and it's certainly in the interest of the Muslim world. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you to Councilmember Barron, a very fine man who is taking time out from his own re-election in September, which we heartily hope will be a successful re-election. He's one of the most important new and rising figures in Democratic Party politics in this area, and we wish him every success. Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm Councilman Charles Barron. It is indeed an honor to be here on this day, to be with my comrade in struggle, my colleague in electoral politics internationally, George Galloway. This is a mission of humanitarian proportions like we've never seen before. And we as an African people here in America know what suffering means. We know what it means to not have food and to not have medical supplies. So no matter where you come down on the politics on this one, nobody in the world should sit around and see the suffering of the Palestinian people as they are suffering now. The people of Israel, probably many differ than the government of Israel, may have some very different positions on this whole question of the Palestinian people. But to stop trucks from coming in through the United Nations and other international agencies is tantamount to genocide. It's like having a death camp. We should not allow this to go on. No human being on this planet should sit back and allow for this kind of suffering to take place. So it's with honor that I and some of my staff will be going to Cairo and will join this caravan. And we do it jubilantly. We do it with pleasure, with honor. We'll go back again if necessary, because if it saves the life of one Palestinian child, one Palestinian woman or man, it was worth the trip. We got to send a message to the world that we cannot allow for human beings to suffer like that. We got to send a message to the United States government that I'm paying tax too. I don't want all my tax-paying dollars going to death and destruction and weaponry and bombs, but I want my tax-paying dollars to go for humanitarian aid to the Palestinian people. Not everybody supports the wars abroad. There is a growing number of Americans that are supporting peace, that are supporting justice. And we have to continue to be bold enough to make that move. Some people in East New York said, Charles, why are you doing this? Why are you going to Palestine? We are hungry here. Why are you waging that struggle? Well, the African-American community in America has always embraced international issues, because the same reasons why they're suffering abroad, they're suffering domestically. And we're calling on Barack Obama to continue to go in the direction that you're going, to continue to call for diplomacy as opposed to military solutions, but also increase the humanitarian aid. While the suffering is going on, or while the politics is going on, people are dying. They're dying from not being able to get some of the basic medical equipment or medical needs that could save human lives. We want to make sure that they get through. So I'll be honored to join this mission. When we come back, we're going to give a report on what happened, how it went down, but it is indeed an honor at this time in history to say that we're going to Palestine. We're going to Gaza. We're going to make sure that our people in Gaza, because that's human race, that's our people, that's everybody's people. The people of Gaza are suffering. We're honored to go there and say that we will contribute to their relief. Thank you very much.